Here we go. All right, so A5. Highlight the plus K. If you have a number, which we're calling plus K, that is behind the parentheses, that is going to tell you to move up that amount of, this is stupid. That tells you to move up that amount of units. So we move up, and there's a plus number at the end. So when it's a minus, we're going to move down. Inside the parentheses, if we have a minus, or if it's minus a number, we're going to move right. And if it is a positive number, so I'm going to move left. If there is a negative in front of our function, we are going to flip or reflect. All of these are functions. If our number in front of our function is bigger than 1, let's go ahead and write that in. If it is bigger than 1, then we're going to stretch by that number. And if it's smaller than 1, then we're going to compress. You do not have to write this bottom part here. Roll that copy down. Alright, so here's a transformation. What we are doing is we are taking the graph that they give us and we are describing what's happening based on this function at the very top. So for number 1, my f of x is my function. This plus 1 tells me how I'm going to translate it. A positive 1 at the end of my graph, at the end of my function, tells me I'm going to go up 1. That was our plus k. Go up 1. What I want you guys to do is I want you to bold these 4 vertices of where it changed direction. And I'm going to go up 1. Okay, that's what my function says. Function plus 1. So for my first dot, I go up 1. Second dot, up 1. Third, and fourth. Okay, and then just connect your dots. Try to make your lines as clean as possible. All good? Okay, on number 2, I have 2 transformations. Okay, my f of x is normal, and I have a plus 1 inside the parentheses. Plus 1 inside the parentheses tells me left or right. I'm going to go left 1. Because that's what number is after the plus sign. The minus 2 at the very back is up or down. Which way do I go?
Down.
Down. How many? Down 2. All right. Once again, I'm going to bold my points. And I'm going to draw my new graph. So I'm going to go to the left 1, which is at my first point, go to the left 1 and then down 2. I end up right there. And I'm going to do that for each point. Left 1, down 2. Left 1, down 2. Left 1, down 2. And then I'm going to connect. My lines are a little off. Because positive 1 inside the parentheses. So inside your parentheses, you don't have to write this, but just take a look up here for a second. If we're inside the parentheses, you're either going to go left or you are going to go right. The way that I remember that is the word left is a double reminder that I need to have a plus sign. Do you guys see in the word left, the F and the T kind of make plus signs? Okay, that's like my reminder. In the word right, there's a minus sign if I cross my T. Bless you. That's just how I remember it. I've done it that way since I was sitting there.
Can you choose either one, left or right?
No. If it's a plus sign, it's always going to be left. If it's a minus sign, it's always going to go to the right. On number 3, I have one transformation. A negative in front means what? Take a look at that chart we just did. Reflect or flip. You can choose either word. I don't care. On your test and stuff, I'll probably use the word reflect, but flip is fine. So pay attention to how I do this. Once again, I always keep my points together. So when I reflect or I flip, all that means is that it's the opposite, right? Like a reflection is basically what you see is the opposite. We are starting at my x-axis. Okay, the opposite of this first point stays there because it's already on the axis. If you were to flip that, it's still there. My second point for my x-axis is down 3. What's the opposite of down 3? Let's go up 3. My third point is up 3. The opposite is down 3. Same with my fourth point. If I start from the x-axis, it's 3 points up. I need to go 3 points down. And then I connect my dots. You don't really have to draw them a lot like this on your test. This is just so you can know how to do it. Any questions on 1, 2, or 3? The more we do this, the more you'll be able to tell what your transformations are. Let's look at number 4. Number 4, I have 2 transformations. I have a negative, I have a negative 2. That negative tells me to do what? The negative in front tells me to do what? Flip. And what does that minus 2 tell me to do?
Right 2.
Right 2. Good job. Anything inside the parentheses can only go left or right. All right, once you have that, let's go ahead and draw the transformation. I bolded my vertices. So I'm going to flip and then go right to. It doesn't matter what you do first, okay, because you're going to end up in the same position. But if I flip my first point, it's already on the x-axis, it doesn't move. Then I go to the right 2. My new point is there. My second point, I need to flip it, right? It's already down 3, so let's go up 3. But I'm not done, I go to the right 2. 1, 2. My third point is up 3, so I'm going to go down 3, and then to the right 2. And then same with my fourth point. It's up 3, I want to go down 3, and then to the right 2. And so if I draw this picture, or this graph, looks something like that. Line number 5 has how many transformations? 2. What are they? So my negative up front is going to flip. My -1 tells me to do what? Huh? Is it inside the parentheses? No, so it's not left or right, it's up or down. So I go up or I go down for -1. Down 1. Are you guys getting the hang of it?
Yeah.
Here's my starting point. Alright, I'm going to flip my first point, which stays there. And then I go down 1. Here's my new point. My second point is down 3, so I go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and then down 1. The third point is up 3, so I'm going to go down 3. That's my flip. Then I go down 1 again. And then my fourth point, you can do this 2 ways. If you can see, Ryan, pay attention. If you can see that my fourth point is just 3 points to the right of my third one, just do that. If you can just spatially see that. So here's my new point for my third one. I need to go over 3. 1, 2, 3. You can just kind of compare how they are to each other. For the last one, we're not going to actually graph it, but I have 2 transformations here. My negative tells me 2. What does that 2 tell me to do? Look at your graph. If there's a number in front of your function, you're going to either stretch or compress. We're going to stretch because it is bigger than 1. So we're going to stretch by 2 because that's the number that we have. These get confusing. If you look at -2 as a whole, you're going to think it compresses because it's smaller than 1. But remember, there is not 1. Okay? Your negative means to flip, and then you have the positive 2. Don't put them together. We aren't going to graph that because we don't have the space. What that means, though, is that, let's say this point here is at 1, 2, 3, 4. negative 4, 0, right? If I want to stretch by a factor of 2, I multiply it, and this would become negative 8, 0, but we don't have the space on there. You guys see how we would do that? Okay. All right, so on 7 through 9, we're not going to go through all of them. Okay, my first one we're not going to do a graph for. I have 2 transformations. Dennis, what does the 1/2 tell me to do? If there's a number in front of A, is it smaller or bigger than 1? 1/2.
Smaller.
It's smallest. Do we stretch? We compress. Compress. We're going to compress by 1/2. My positive 2, do I go left or do I go right? What is that? Left. Left. Okay, we're not going to draw that just because we don't have time. But once again, we'll multiply like negative 4, 0 times 1/2 would be negative 2, 0. We will draw that. So we'll go from this size to just a little smaller. Number 8, Charlie, I have 2 transformations. What are they? What's that -1 tell me to do?
Go right.
Yep, right how many?
1.
Yep. What about my -3?
Move down 3.
Down 3. We can actually graph that one because it's not stretch or compress. So if I go right 1, then down 3, 1, 2, 3, I end up where my second point is. Second point, right 1, down 3. Third point, right 1, down 3. Fourth point, right 1, down 3. That's my new transformation. So here, number 9, 2 transformations. That 2 tells me to do what? It's bigger than 1. It's in front of my function, so it either stretches or compresses. Stretch by a factor of what? All right, and what about that +3 at the very back? Up or down?
Up.
Up 3. We're also not drawing this graph right now. Alright, so now our numbers are a little different. But you have, is yours 10, 11, 12, 13? Or says 11?
Yeah, it's 10.
10? Okay, so for number 10, we have 3 transformations. Number 11, we have 3. Number 12, we have 2. And the last one, we have 3. Take a minute and answer those questions. All right, so Charlie, the first one, number 10 on your paper. I have 3 transformations. All right. My 2 tells me to do what? stretch by a factor of 2. My negative 3 tells me to do what? Right 3. And plus 4 at the very end tells me to do what?
Go.
Perfect. Okay, I won't break it down like that, but I want you guys to see it for the first one. Alex, the second one. All right, my negative tells me to do what? The negative in the very, very front. Flip around. Flip to your chart. It has the negative in front. Yep. Flip it. My 3 tells me to either stretch or compress. Which one would it be if it's bigger than 1?
Sure.
My plus 1 inside my parentheses is left or right. Which one would I go? The plus. Yep. Left 1. That's the one that I think about plus sign, plus sign. All right, Sonia. The third problem has only 2 transformations. What do we do here?
Compress by 1/3.
We compress by 1/3
Down.
and we down 6. Good job. Carry the last one. I have 3 transformations. Be careful, is it bigger than 1? 3/2?
Yes, the stretch.
Yeah, so normally we look at fractions and we think it's less than 1, but this one, I'm trying to trick you. 3/2 is bigger than 1, so we're going to stretch by 3/2, okay?
And to the right. 3.
Yeah,
And
right
then
3,
Down to.
and then down 2. Good job. You'll get used to this because we do it a lot in Algebra 2. We definitely talk about graphs a lot. Once you learn how to do it, it's easy. We're almost done. All right. It says, what is the equation of the solid line graph if the parent graph is the dotted line graph? All right. So your parent graph, pay attention. Your parent graph is your original. Okay, so they're saying the original is the one that is dotted. So bold that one or something so you know. Or you can use your highlighter. I want to know, how am I going from the red graph to the highlighted graph in green? Well, first of all, let's look at our function. In the top corner, what is it called? G of x, okay? So let's look at my first point. That was pretty easy. To get from my first point to my point of my highlighted graph, this one, what do we do? Went up 2? Is that what you're putting 2 fingers up for? All right, we went up 2. So now we got to write an equation for it. Up 2 is at the very back, right? Outside of the parentheses. So we have g of x plus 2. Number 11, I'm going to highlight, or sorry, I'm going to bold my original graph, which is the dotted one. I want to see how do I get from my original graph to the highlighted graph. What did we do? So I'm going to just choose the first point just because it's a little easy for me to see. All right, what did we do? Do we go left or right?
Yeah.
Left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what? We'll be right there.
Down to.
Down 2. We went left 4, down 2 for the new graph. My function this time is h of x. Okay? So left 4 is going to be inside the parentheses. So we have h of x plus 4, because we went left 4. And my down 2 goes at the very back, like that. Last one. How do I get from my dotted graph to my highlighted graph? Well, one transformation is kind of obvious. It's upside down. So what do? We reflected. We flipped it. All right. And then once we did that, so we went from this point to that point. Once we flipped it, we went to the left. How many? 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I went up 2. My function here is j of x. So we have j of x. This left 4 is going to be plus or minus? Plus. How do I write up 2? Plus 2, going up, positive. How do I show that it's being reflected? Negative where? In front of the j. There are my transformations. Any questions? All right, not so bad, right? Okay, so your homework is basically a test review. Your test is next class. Okay, so if you look at your homework E, it's a little bit of day 1, a little bit of day 2, day 3, 4, and 5. Next class, we will go over it, and then you will take your test. You absolutely need to do this homework. You have 11 minutes. Get started. If not, then you're going to be so confused.